Moon Studios recently hosted their first Wicked Insight, where they gave us a deep dive look into No Rest for the Wicked. Not only did we get a lot of new information, they even allowed a ton of content creators to get their hands on a playable demo.
Happy. Very happy. Really looking forward to this one.
Think about the game so far. So far, I'm really enjoying the game. The more I play, the more I really enjoy it.
For me, I give it a recommend.
I see a question here from Indian Kingfish asking, buy or no buy? Buy, wishlist it, do what you got to do. This is incredible.
So yeah, overall, it seems like almost everyone came away with very positive first impressions. Now, before I give my thoughts and speculation on the Wicked Insight event, I want to just put up a disclaimer. I am not one of the content creators that got early access to the game. After all, I don't even have 1,000 subs yet.
Please, sir. I want some more.
Like most of you guys, I was simply an outsider who was tuning in on the Wicked Insight and trying to get as much information I could on No Rest for the Wicked. And after watching the deep dive and checking out a ton of gameplay footage from other creators, I wanted to do a video just giving my thoughts and overall impressions of the information that we received. Now, when they kicked off the Wicked Insight, they opened it up giving us a little bit of the backstory and the lore of the world. Basically, the king has just passed away, and his young, unproven, and untested son Magnus is set to take the crown. Now, naturally, whenever there's a transition of such power, especially when it's going to someone who's unproven, it causes a rift throughout the kingdom, as rebel groups start to rise up, creating a power struggle, and they fight over different territories throughout the realm. On top of this, an ancient plague has returned, spreading throughout the kingdom, turning people into things from your nightmares. Now you would think most people would be extremely scared of this plague. However, Maginal Celine is a zealot, it seems, from the church, and sees the plague as merely an opportunity to prove herself. Now, right off the bat, Moon Studios has set themselves up for some extraordinary storytelling. We got it all. A kingdom in turmoil. A leader has just passed away, and an eager, mainly over-eager, successor is going to take the throne. Rebel groups have risen up. There's an ancient plague, and monsters are roaming throughout the realm. Basically, this is Game of Thrones with some World of Warcraft thrown in the mix. I mean, let's be real. Did anyone else get Lich King vibes from Magnus?
Enough. Whatever the cause of this sickness, I cannot allow it to spread. My father has been weak for many years. I will begin my reign doing what he could not.
My king, you are grieving. I must recommend against anything.
It's already done. Tomorrow, Madrigal Celine and her Inquisition will set sail for Sacra.
I promise we will cleanse the island of this wickedness. Our new king's faith in the church is well placed.
Oh no. We're too late. These people have all been infected. They may look fine now, but it's just a matter of time before they turn into the undead. This entire city must be purged.
What? How can you even consider that? There's got to be some other way.
Damn it, Uther. As your future king, I order you to purge this city.
I think they're just starting the game off on such a strong path, having not one, but multiple plot lines. Since Moon Studios has already said they want to support this game for several years, it's important to kick the game off with these strong story arcs. Plus, it's always more fun when we, the players, go on the hero or villain journey with those characters. This is one of the reasons Arthas was so impactful. It started in Warcraft 3, went to the expansion from Frozen Throne, and years later, we saw the conclusion in Wrath of the Lich King. It was just such an epic journey, and I truly think that's one of the main reasons that character is so memorable. There was just so much good quality build-up. Now, amazing storytelling is only part of the magic it seems this game is going to bring to the table. The world itself is going to build even more of that atmosphere, because it is going to be 100% handcrafted with dynamic weather effects and a day and night cycle, which is wonderful. Handcrafted worlds are always just more interesting and fun to explore. Plus, they've already said there's going to be a ton of secrets for us to discover. Now, one thing I hope is contained within those secrets is hidden boss fights. and not just ordinary bosses. It would be cool to find uber bosses hidden throughout the world. These bosses would just offer additional endgame content, because Moon Studios has already said they do plan on supporting endgame systems. In fact, we already have some of the details about a crucible system that's going to be implemented in the game. And for those wondering about the details of the crucible system, well, it appears it's going to be randomized dungeons inspired by Diablo 1 and Hades. You're going to be teleported to a random dungeon in which you have to go through different levels, and the further you go, the harder it becomes. It's going to be 10 randomized rooms to reach the end. Each room will have a unique randomized challenge, which could be focused on platforming, combat, or puzzle solving. Which brings me back to why I want those uber bosses in the open world areas of the game. Because if they don't have in-game content to do out in the world, most players are going to end up beating the story, ignoring the open world, and simply just spamming the crucible system at the end game. Basically, it's going to turn into Diablo 3 with the Rift system. I just think having the players have more options at the end game is extremely important. And speaking of player options, it appears that Moon Studios wants us to have a ton of options when designing our character, because they're going with a soft class system, which basically means when you make your character, you don't pick a class. Instead, you make the character and you jump right into the game. And whatever passive attributes you give your character will determine sort of which class they are. On top of this, whatever weapon you equipped will determine which skills you have access to, which sounds really good. However, once again, I have some concerns about the RPG elements to this game. For starters, as far as I could gather, there's no talent trees in the game, just an attribute system, which is kind of a bummer. And to be completely honest, from all the footage I've seen, it only appears as if this game is mainly focused on melee combat. As you can see in this footage, Asmongold has a staff equipped, which gives him access to fireballs and other spells. However, in order to use these spells, he has to perform melee combos in order to build up his power meter. And I'm not sure if I like that, because most of the time Asmongold is simply engaged in melee combat, even though he's holding a caster weapon. Now, as you can see here, when he casts a fireball, he has roughly half of the power meter built up, and one fireball depletes the entire bar. So if he had a full bar, he could launch 2 spells before he has to go back into melee combat. Here's another example of Miss 5000 watts using the staff, pulling off all sorts of parries and unleashing some fire ability. And while she's doing a great job at the gameplay mechanics, this really does not look like a caster class. Instead of what appears to be a mage or a wizard, it looks like you're just Donatello using your bow staff and mainly relying on combat abilities. And it kind of makes me wonder how the game's going to handle other playstyles. Is everyone expected to be pure melee? How would an archer work? How about a pet class like druid or necromancer? I don't even think the game is going to have them. And honestly, with this system, the developers have locked themselves into a playstyle. And if they do introduce a pure magic class, players are simply just going to kite enemies, and it's gonna cause a lot of headache with balancing issues. And I don't even know how a pet or summoner class would work in the game. Though I do want to say, keep in mind, the combat does seem amazing, so kudos to them because the area where they do focus on looks phenomenal. Now, one area I'm extremely excited about is the fact that it has already been announced on their official Discord that the game is going to support offline and online play. And I'm so happy to hear this. So many games have become online only these days that it's nice just to see a game that's going to simply support both play styles. And not only did we get official offline support, the game's not going to have any microtransactions, pay to win, no paying for skins, no buying extra stash tabs. All you have to do is simply buy the game and purchase future expansions, much like it used to be. Overall, while I do have some concerns about this title, like character customization, I do think it's going to be an extremely incredible game, and I am excited to play it. But I would love to hear what you all think, so let me know your overall thoughts in the comments down below. And if you made it this far and did enjoy the video, let me know by dropping a like, and if you are new, please consider subscribing. As for me, I got a ton of work to do, so I'm gonna get back to the grind and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.